Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee Sunday morning celebration service. We're all on Zoom this morning because it's snowing outside. It's sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's blizzarding, and sometimes it's just clear. So, but it's it's the way Tahoe is in the winter. So welcome this morning. I'm Rev Pam Brandman, the senior minister here at the center. And whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We'd like everyone to keep themselves muted this morning so we have a good recording on our Zoom, unless you're the speaker. And we know that there are many paths to God, and we recognize that all of these paths end in oneness and in love. So we're grateful that each of you is here with us this morning. We'd like to remind everyone that our center's purpose is love. Our vision is embracing all and serving with love while awakening to the one. I'd like you to join with me as we set our intentions with our receptivity statement that you'll see on the screen. We can read along together. Stay muted and read along. I am here by divine appointment. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. So our musician today is Callie Hansen, and she was very grateful that we didn't make her drive up here in the snow. She gets her snow tires next week. And also she is very busy, like most musicians and music teachers in this time of year. And so this year she is busy assisting her 30 students to get ready for their recital, which is next weekend. So she's really busy. But she selected some wonderful old familiar songs to bring in the holiday season about home. And also they're debuting a new song that was co-written by her and one of her students. So it's going to be we're going to start out this morning with a fun sing-along. So help me welcome Callie Hansen.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all well. Happy holidays. The first selection is a sing-along for you all to get your pipes warmed up. Sing with me Home for the Holidays.
Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you long for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. I met a man who lives in Tennessee, and he was headed for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shores. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. For the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home.
So Home for the Holidays. I think a lot of it, we were talking about all of our Thanksgivings that we all shared before service this morning. And I hope each of you were able to find your home for the holidays, whatever for Thanksgiving. But now we're going to move into our sacred time with our practitioner for today's sacred reading and invocation. Our practitioner this morning is Nancy O'Neill, and she arranged that her guest would leave right in time for her to sign in this morning. So she's been practicing Home for the Holidays This morning, we welcome Nancy O'Neill.
Thank you. So this morning's reading is from The Master Speaks by Joel Goldsmith. It is in and through meditation that we ultimately touch the kingdom of God within our own being. Most of our lives, we have talked about God, we have talked about spirit, we have talked about our soul, and we have even talked about the Christ. But very few of us have actually made the acquaintance with God, soul, or the Christ. To most of us, these are still terms for something separate and apart from our own being, something which we hope ultimately to realize or to attain. In this work, we try as soon as possible to make an end to this thought about God as separate and apart from our being, to the continuous talk about Christ or praying to Christ or God, and we try to come as rapidly as we can to the realization of God, to an actual God experience. In this work, we learn to dwell in the secret place of the Most High. We learn to abide in the consciousness of God, unfolding and revealing itself as our daily experience. We learn to become completely independent of the world and to realize that everyone else in the world is just as independent when awakened to his true identity. The secret is true identity. Know thyself, the Greeks said. Find within your own being the realization of God as your being, as your substance, as your life, mind, and body. And then you will find that the whole world is free. As men awaken to that, they come into this same freedom from mortal, material, human limitation, from the sense of infiniteness. And all of this comes not through the intellect, not through intellectually hearing this, but through and only through the spiritual discernment in it. So if you'll just close your eyes and join me for an opening prayer this morning. Oh, and just take a couple of deep breaths to just get yourself centered in your place in front of your computer. And just considering those words about the God, the Christ that lives within, and knowing what that is, especially in this season of love, the season of joy, the season of beauty, and the season that is life. That is life in its best Christmas wrapping. And so in knowing that and knowing all those qualities that are really God that is life, God that is in with each of us, that we unify with, that God of love. And so in knowing this, I know that today's service is unfolding perfectly, and that all who are joining us on Zoom this morning are in their special places at home, because that's what we're talking about a lot. This month has been about home. And so just being home and whatever that is, because there's also home within, that we move into our service this morning. And just so grateful for this time together, for this teaching, for this knowing, for this wisdom of knowing that God is everywhere and that God is all good. So in knowing that, I just allow this to be, as we say together, so it is. And so now I just invite Callie back for another song. Oops.
Hi. This next selection is really special to me. It's the first time I've actually ever had the opportunity to have one of my students perform with me for anything at CSL. It's a special song that I wrote with my student Shelby Holback. She's very, very talented, and we're in the middle of producing her first album. I've had her for 3 years. She's 15, and I hope you enjoy it. It's called Snow Globe. We co-wrote this together.
There's something different about this time of year when the outside world just disappears. Time stands still as we pass, the snow covering up our tracks. It all seems so unreal that this cold makes me feel so warm. It's been the same since I was 2, a yearly deja vu, the same lights on the tree waiting to be turned on. That old wreath at the door, tattered and worn as we wait for dawn. A Polar Express and popcorn, a fancy new dress, a coat to keep me warm, checking off my Christmas list, making sure nobody's missed. Hustle and bustle is in the air, while people shop in the square. It's been the same since I was 2, a yearly deja vu, the same lights on the tree waiting to be turned on. That old wreath at the door, tattered and worn as we wait for dawn. We all have those memories, soaking up the fire glow, reminding us how it used to be, perfect like a snow globe. We'll lace up our skates for that cold winter date, hot chocolate to warm our bones, then we'll all go back home.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. You know, today we're talking about home, and you know, that home that we remember as being perfect when we're a childhood, and we as adults, well, maybe it wasn't always so perfect, but we always want to get back to that perfect home, whatever we think it was, our dream home. And so that's my topic today. Welcome to your dream home. And so what does your dream home look like? You know, in the snow globe, it was that perfect home we remember from our childhood, you know, with the snow falling and the wreath on the door, all of those things that bring back those memories, you know, warmth, even though it's cold, that we associate those things together. But maybe your dream home is a cute country cottage that has ivy and flowering vines growing everywhere. Yeah. Or maybe it's a villa somewhere in Greece or in the south of France that you'd like to go, right? Or maybe it's a penthouse on Fifth Avenue in New York City. You know, my first father-in-law was very proud that he had been the building superintendent at an apartment building on Fifth Avenue where Erica John lived. She wrote the 1973 novel Fear of Flying, so she was quite the madam to be in the building. When I was a preteen, I had dreams of becoming an architect, and so I had this dream home that I had designed. It was 4 stories tall, and it was round. Now, the best thing about that home, though, was that although it had an elevator, the easiest way to get around the house was to start at the top with your roller skates and just spiral down to the bottom, right? It sounds like a preteen house, don't you think? And so, and then Michael and I, when we lived down in Anaheim, we tried to buy a house that looked like it belonged in the mountains, but we waited until we actually arrived here in Tahoe to buy a real mountain home. Now, all these houses can be great places to live. But I suggest that the ideal dream home is a place that is located within our heart, right? This past month, we've been talking about the hero's journey. And, on the hero ventures out from the home. They encounter dangers and misfortunes, and then they learn to courageously confront our fears and all of the difficulties that we encounter, but we survive them because we face them. This process transforms the hero and prepares them to discover their true self and return home. As we mature into adults, it's normal to leave our childhood home, right? And we may be seeking a person, place, thing, or belief that to fulfill our longed for ideal dream home, whatever that is. The dream home is a place where we will always feel safe, unconditionally loved, and accepted. So this transformation process revealed the presence of our inner guide, our spiritual self, who helped us discern the difference between society's expectations for us, our ego's demands and illusions, and our true self. David Rico says that love is our true identity beyond ego. And so the final leg of the hero's journey is that return home. And the person who returns home from their journey is very different than the one who left. It's the hero that summoned the courage to set out on the journey in the first place. And it required transcending a lot of those false limitations that held them back, held them in fear of even venturing out. And so then the hero's journey is our journey back to our true self. And our true self is that we are spiritual beings having a physical human experience. We are one with the power and presence that lies within us and all around us. That is our true self, right? The journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about being the best possible version of ourselves, who we can be psychologically and spiritually mature adults. David Rico, in his book, How to Be an Adult, on a handbook on, let's see if you can see that. There we go. Right, okay. There we go. And a handbook on psychological and spiritual integration. It's a really well-written and succinct summary of all of the powerful psychological process of integrating our self-concepts and our thoughts, right? So it includes a lot of the things that Reverend Angelica Schaefer talked about last week, the process of inner child work, integrating our shadow, dream interpretation. Reverend Angelica gave a wonderful and insightful talk last week on her journey of self-integration. And if you weren't able to attend, I recommend that you listen to the recording of her talk on our website. But mature adults are those that are willing to face their fears. They're not victims. They're willing to assume responsibility for their own thoughts, their feelings, and their actions, right? Good or bad, they take responsibility for them. We also, as mature adults, release what no longer serves us, whether it's attachment to possessions, opinions, habits, things that we do that are not in integrity with who we are. We also know that we are part of a greater whole, part of the one life that is gone. We are whole. That is who we are. And if it looks like we're something else, we just need to peel back the layers. It's like opening up that Christmas gift and seeing what's really inside, right? And also, when you live at this level, you know peace of mind, unconditional love, and joy. Right? That is the norm for someone who is a mature adult. Now, in his book, Rico points out that there are two main barriers to being an adult, either being too needy or too much caretaking of others and not taking care of ourselves. So if we don't resolve the feelings, the false beliefs, judgments, unrealistic expectations, that are brought on by the trauma of childhood experiences, or even experiences early in our adulthood, we can carry these memories into our adult lives. And as long as we hang on to them as our truth, until we process and heal these painful memories, our relationships will be hindered by feelings of victimhood, by neediness, lack of trust, and false beliefs about our own self-worth. We are a child of God. We are part of God. It doesn't get any greater than that. We are beloved just as we are. So David Rico says, only those who can take care of themselves are free of these two main obstacles to being an adult in relationships. But once we do heal those powerful memories and learn to live from a consciousness of unconditional love for ourselves and for others, we are empowered to be self-reliant, right? That inner guide is always there to lead us through whatever challenges come up for us. No longer will we angrily blame our parents in our childhood for whatever we don't like about our present life. We have to release it. We live in the present right now. We will be able to forgive our parents for their shortcomings. They're only human, just like us, right? And so we can learn to self-parent. We drop our expectations that others must fill our needs, right? We make our own choices. And we develop a newfound ability to rely upon ourselves, supported by Spirit, the infinite source, to care for our needs. And once we're whole, no longer needy or over caring, we will be able to attract and build healthy relationships. It's ironic. Thoreau says, I will come to you, my friend, when I no longer need you. Then you will find a palace, not an almhouse. So this is a wisdom from long ago and into the present. This is how it works. When we're whole, we attract a partner who is whole. When we're needy or overcaring, we attract a partner that matches us. So our task is first to become whole ourselves and then engage in these healthy relationships. Now, since we're a spiritual center, there's a deeper level we can go than just the psychological level of healing. And that's the spiritual level, the level of reaching transcendence. And so when we move beyond feeling that we are, we're an adult, we're in the world, we're doing well. But when we go beyond the illusions of this world, then we find this deeper level that we are one with Spirit, one with God. And so there's 4 major illusions that David Rico talks about in his book. The first is the illusion of duality. This illusion says, I am separate from everyone else around me. And only our ego sees this separation because it doesn't really exist. But ego tries to blame others for all of our problems and demands that other people change to fix my problems. Of course, I wouldn't have anything to do with it, right? But our spiritual self, it sees only unity. This is our higher self with a big S, right? So the truth of us is unity. The truth of us is that we are a part of our problems and we are part of the solution to our problems. The second illusion is that there's something out there that can fulfill my longings and permanently answer my needs, right? So this longing of something outside of us, looking outside of ourselves for the answers, it treats bliss just like it's an object that can be just found or possessed, something that will last forever. Happiness is because I have a new car or a new house or a new job or a new relationship, something out there that's going to fix my life, right? But then we're disappointed by people who fail to deliver. And the car gets old or gets in an accident, We risk letting go of this illusion that bliss can be found outside of ourselves. And instead, the spiritual self tells us that bliss already exists inside of us. It always has, and it always will. Now, the third illusion to confront is the illusion that we are in control. Now, when we're in control, it's because we have a fear that changes might happen, right? Things won't happen exactly the way we want them. And so there's these overwhelming feelings that I might not survive if these things change, if I can't control everything exactly the way that I need them to be, right? And so, but eventually something happens and finally we have no other option, and if you're really strong and determined like me, it's really a doozy. And we get to that point when we have to just surrender and let go of control. In fact, we are finite beings trying to control an infinite universe. I don't think that's really possible all by ourselves, right? Now, Reverend Angelica last week, she recounted her dream of an encounter with a lion and her greatest fear. It was a very scary dream, but when she faced her fear, that lion not only became a dear friend, but it returned what she thought she had lost, which was her true self, that spiritual self, right? It's never lost. It's just that we can't see it. Now, the fourth and final illusion is that we are entitled to be cared for just like we were as infants. And I know a few adults that think that the universe should take care of them because they're so fabulous. Well, that's an illusion, right? To expect that everyone will trust us completely and treat us with only love and respect and take care of our every need, just like we were when we were infants, totally is very smart. It's interesting watching our new administrator, Charlotte. She brings her baby with her to work. And so she's taking care of every need of that baby and doing our work too. But it's that total neediness of the baby that I'm really reminded of. So as we are healed from this illusion, we see life's challenges as events that are designed to be learning experiences to help us build up our strengths. It's not done to punish us, although it does show us that it does outpicture what's going on in our minds. It's a mirror. Our life is a mirror back to us. But that's the learning experience. You get feedback. When you go bowling and the ball goes down the gutter, you aim for the middle again. And when you get one pin, you aim closer to the middle, and finally you get a strike, and it's really exciting. But you learn to aim. And so these life challenges are the same way, right? I like to pray for gentle lessons instead of difficult lessons. But if we pay attention, that can be what we get. So all of these illusions are a way to develop our strengths that we need to live a healthy life and to discover our wholeness, our true nature. Ernest Hemingway says, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places." Now, if you've ever seen one of his biographies, they have a great one on PBS, he had a lot of broken spots, but he was also a very strong man at the same time. So he knew what he's talking about. And these challenges that dealing with all of these illusions, Reverend Angelica described very well last week. And so all of these are powerful processes that allow us to dive deep beneath our conscious awareness to that subconscious level where we hold our strongest beliefs and fears. And all of these powerful psychological processes can only go so far until we discover our true identity. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We are not separate beings living separate lives. We are part of that unity of life, part of one. The infinite invisible is expressing itself in us, through us, and as us, right? There's not a God out there. There is a God within us, right? And this idea of separation, we've also seen as God is something separate and outside of ourselves. This is one of the big things that in New Thought, that there's been an evolution from what is in some of the traditional Christian beliefs. There's that image of the old man with the beard in heaven watching us, judging us, and going to purgatory after you die if you don't measure up or something. And, there was the idea that the Catholic Church taught that people cannot know God themselves. They need a priest to intercede for them with God, to explain what God wants them to do. Instead, for us, it's about having that personal relationship with God. And then there are many Christian churches that do teach that personal relationship with God. And once you've had that experience, that God is God. There's no doubt. We know that we are one with God, that we are the beloved part of it. Now, Joel Goldsmith is one of my favorite New Thought authors, and he talks about, he calls his teaching the infinite way, knowing that we are part of the infinite. And so he says, we don't just talk about God, we talk about spirit, although that's a path to the kingdom of God. That's God out there. We're talking about it, right? He says, we don't just read about God in these various sacred texts, although that's also a path to God's kingdom. We can listen to spiritual guides and teachers who will direct us towards our true identity as divine beings. But the real goal is to experience God, to realize that God truly is all there is, that God is love, that God is peace, that God is bliss. To have that experience, to know and experience our true identity as an expression of that divine love. We are divine love in form. That transforms life when you have that experience, right? We have been and always will be love, right? Yes, we do have free will to live our own lives, make our own choices, but our highest potential, each and every one of us, is when we awaken and learn to live as a part of the one, to abide in the consciousness of God. Now we have to discover this truth for ourselves. Someone else may share this truth with us, and they may tell us about it, preach at us. Our good friends may help us that we want to, oh, here, read this book, come to this talk, and whatever. But until we decide to investigate it, until we have that direct and willing experience of God, it doesn't seem real. But when it does, it's amazing, right? That conscious awareness of the power and the presence of God is unfolding and revealing itself in our daily lives. And so when you have this assuredness of who we are, then when we look at one of these challenges that come up, it's like looking at a coin and you see one side of the coin and you know that on the other side of the coin is the answer. One doesn't come without the other, right? And so, and a quote from the reading this morning by Joel Gold from The Master Speaks. He said, "Know thyself," the Greeks said. "Find within your own being the realization of God as your being, as your substance, as your life, mind, and body. And then you will find that the whole world is free." As men awaken to that, they come into the same freedom from mortal, material, human limitation, from the sense of finiteness. And all of this comes not through the intellect, not through intellectually hearing this, but through and only through the spiritual discernment of it. In the Bible, in Philippians 2:5, it says, "Let this mind be in your mind, which was also in Christ Jesus." And Ernest Holmes also writes on this same topic. He said, "The secret place of the Most High will be revealed in the inner sanctuary of our own heart, and the eternal God will sit enthroned in our own mind. We can know no God external to the power of perception by which alone we are conscious of anything. God must be interpreted to us through our own nature." So as we live our lives, it takes one to know one. So we have to experience God in our life to really understand that this is possible for God, right? If we just are always taught and believe that God is this man in the sky, then that will be our limited experience of God. But God is so much more, the infinite invisible that's everywhere present, that has made everything out of itself, that unconditional love. Now, this secret place of the Most High can also be called our inner sanctuary. That through the process of enlightenment, what we have been seeking so earnestly outside of ourselves, it can only be found within ourselves, within our heart of hearts, right? Hermann Hesse said, within yourself is a stillness, a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself. Right? That's why we take time every day to pray and to meditate, to have that spiritual practice that keeps us in alignment with our true self, right? So we see the world from the inside out rather than starting to think that all of whatever's going on around us is the way it's got to be. Ernest Holmes said, to be still and know that I am God is to enter the sanctuary of one's own consciousness. There's a story about how Ernest Holmes and there was a minister that was training to be a minister, and he was getting personal training from Ernest Holmes. And they went and sat in the founder's church where it was undergoing construction. So there was all this hammering and sawing and drills and all this noise going on. But they went in the sanctuary and started meditating. And the minister in training, was looking around. It's like, how can I meditate with all this noise going on? And Ernest Holmes was just calmly there. And he asked, how can you meditate with all that noise? And he said, well, I'm just going to that place within where God is. And I just let all of that be. So the next day when they went back, same noise going on, but the minister in training tried again. And so he surrendered all of that noise and he just focused on that spiritual truth, his true self within. And pretty soon, all of that noise became just part of the background. And the real communication, the real presence of God was very real for him. He knew that God was there with them and as them, and that they were together in that sacred space of the sanctuary. Right? It's a very powerful place if you ever get a chance to go to the Founders Church in Los Angeles. Now, pulling all of this together, our dream home, our true dream home, can be captured in this bumper sticker. And if you lived within your heart, you'd be home now. Right? And so this is our true home. In this transformed consciousness, we can firmly establish ourselves in our inner home, a home grounded in and fully supported by spirit. We are free to experience living in our dream home, the home we always wanted, a place where we can safely be our true, authentic self, the self that we've always been. Our hero's journey leads us away from home, out through life's trials and tribulations, and then back home again. Only we have been transformed by that process. We have surrendered our human frailties and limitations, and that hero returns home with insight, wisdom, and power gleaned from that journey that is meant to be shared with our fellow human beings and with all of life. A life lived in the power and presence of the divine. A mature adult recognizes life as a gift and lives purposefully with a commitment to serve a greater good. He or she lives with an awareness of the interconnectedness of life and love as the source and substance of that connection. The qualities of that mythic dream home lie in the heart of every human being. It's unconditional love, freedom, peace, and joy that are our spiritual birthright. And one of the wonderful things about this inner dream home is that we can carry it around with us wherever we go, right? Heroes recognize and own their birthright. Their true identity is and always was and always will be our spiritual self. And this consciousness can be called the Christ consciousness that allows their heroes to carry their home with them wherever they go, kind of like the snail that's at home wherever they go. They're ready to hold their conscious awareness on the spiritual truth beneath every situation. And so when we dwell so confidently and completely in divine love, we're able to respond to every event by first being still and know that I am God, and then respond from unconditional love. You know, we have some people in our family that are constantly complaining and accusing me and many others for mistreating them and for causing all of their problems. I don't know if you have anyone like that, but I've been trying to use this approach with them. And rather than defending myself from these attacks, I have shifted to physically withdrawing. I don't need to listen to all of that. And silently responding with compassion by recognizing the physical and emotional pain that they must be feeling to act that way. Right? When things have cooled down, I've chosen to send messages of love and comfort and share a special positive memory that we both enjoyed together. Their focus amazingly shifted from their pain to what brings them joy. We were talking about something that brought us common joy. I mean, this is one reason we all love those wonderful Christmas memories, holiday memories of lighting the menorah. We come from a Jewish family, or the Festival of Lights, if you're coming from Hinduism, or you know, each culture has its own way of celebrating. And so there is this little change. These little positive communications have been small but significant changes that hopefully will prepare the path for a longer, loving conversation. We'll see, but at least it's moving in the right direction. So as we live from that hero's consciousness of that we are one with God, other people will recognize that love and acceptance and feel at home in our presence. You know, just as fear is catching, so is unconditional love. So the hero's example makes it possible for others on the journey to visualize the higher possibilities and to find their own dream within themselves. Let's take this to prayer. So as we breathe in and out, we know that there is one life. And as the snow is falling or the rain around us, it is replenishing the earth. It is part of that cycle of life. It is part of that infinite invisible that is expressing itself in so many wondrous ways this day, this very moment. And I know that I am a part of this infinite invisible. I know that what I have seen as limitations that have kept me from expanding are only in my own mind. And so I let them go. I release them. I surrender. I surrender to my good as I surrender all that no longer serves me. And as I do, it is like I have opened up the floodgates to allow this higher consciousness to fill my being. It is something within me that resonates because it knows this is who I have always been. This is who I truly am. It's so exciting to have this higher experience of life, to see the higher possibilities. And around me, I see other people rising to that awareness themselves as they are awakened. And together we come together as the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee, and we create this safe and wonderful place for people to be transformed, so for their lives to be lifted up into joy and love and peace, wholeness, deep abiding wholeness that is unshakable and so strong and so vibrant. Life is so good, lived from the inside out. This dream home that we have been seeking has been here right within our own heart all along. And so I give deep gratitude for this experience. Our greatest dreams have been fulfilled. The joy of being alive can't contain it anymore. It has to be shared. It has to be growing out into the world with love and with light and with joy and with peace. It is so good to be alive. It is so good to be here celebrating with all of our spiritual family and with our family and our friends, and to see it ripple throughout the world. That what looks like chaos is just the surface breaking as this goodness is coming to the surface and sprouting and coming through everywhere. This is the spiritual truth of life, of all life, right here and right now. It has always been and it will always be, and I now declare it is the truth right now that we experience in reality. And so I accept this as our truth. I accept it with joy and with thanksgiving and deep gratitude in this wonderful holiday season. And we release these words knowing that the law always says yes. God always says yes, my beloved. Yes. And together we say, and so it is. So I would like to welcome Kelly back, someone who's living that spiritual truth of who she is and sharing it with her students in so many wonderful ways. Kelly?
Well, thank you. That was very inspirational. My final selection is just an old favorite. It's called I'll Be Home for Christmas. Hope you enjoy it. Wish you all happy holidays.
I'm dreaming tonight of a place I love even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long road back, I promise you I'll be home for Christmas.
Thank you, Callie. That was beautiful. Inspiring to finish getting all those Christmas decorations up. See how beautiful it can be. Well, now is our prosperity time. You know, at CSL Tahoe-Truckee, we know that God is our infinite source and for us and for our center. And so if you've been inspired by our message, please support our center by making a donation. Your donations are a way that you can support our vision and of embracing all and serving with love while awakening to the one. You know, it's your generous donations that make it possible for us to continue our work here in the North Tahoe area. If you would hold your offerings, which I know you're going to drop by the center or mail in this week or make a donation on the website, and repeat our prosperity affirmation with me. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. As a committed giver, I give freely of my whole self. My gift blesses the center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Unmuting helps. So you didn't want to hear me sing them. So, but anyway, I'm grateful that all of you that have joined us here for our snow day today. And so you could help listen from the safety of your homes rather than venturing out in this blizzard, which is resumed now. And if you're listening online, you can also go to our website and fill out and ask to be on our website and get our newsletter, get our updates. You can do that there. I want to thank Angelica Schaefer, who was the guest speaker last week while Michael and I visited our family in Southern California for Thanksgiving. And I understand that from the raving reviews I've gotten that she's did a fantastic job and she's had quite a few views on the recording. So if you would like to hear her again or for the first time, you can hear that on the website. Today, I want to thank Diana Misitz for being our Zoom host with a little bit of assistance from Michael. Diana this was her first time doing a Zoom only. So it's a little bit different than doing it in the sanctuary. So we did a dry run yesterday. So I want to thank Diana for all that extra effort and seemed seamless to me. So that looked good. I want to thank our practitioner today, Nancy O'Neill, for her wonderful presentations as always. Our musician, Kelly Hansen. She was planning to come up here and be with us in person as she really prefers to do, but at the last minute, she had to do some recordings. And so we're the beneficiaries of her extra effort today. Thank you, Kelly. And then also, since we're all online, we get to have hospitality online. So everyone, please hang on and we'll have a chance to chat. And you can turn yourself off mute and bring up your picture, and we can pretend we can have our own coffee while we talk. Okay, so next Sunday we have I'll be speaking on the beloved community, longing to belong. Our musicians will be Love Eternal, and the practitioner is Carol Del Bon. Also, stay after service next Sunday. we're going to finish decorating the tree in the sanctuary. So, so December 11th, right after the service. Today, if you want to go out in the, also on the website, this is where you can find, see lots of other things about our center, including all of the recordings of our center, the inspirational messages from each week, and all of the events that are happening are also on that website. And you can also follow us on your favorite social media website. Today, if you feel like going out in the snow, it's not too much at your house. The North Tahoe Hebrew congregation decided to go ahead with their 20th anniversary of the dedication of their building over in Tahoe Vista off of National Avenue. And they're having a potluck and with some also some presentations from 11 to 2. So grab your potluck dish and head on over if you'd like to do that. Shirley Nelson has been arranging with Tahoe Family Solutions for us to adopt a family for Christmas. And so they'll be putting all the gift wish list and putting them on the tree. They've got this very cute thing set up where you can take a gift off the tree with what the wished for gift is, purchase it, and then wrap it and bring it back to the center. And Shirley will make sure that it gets to Tahoe Family Solutions, who will deliver it for the family. So it's a way of sending love and cheer for the season. Always something we like to do in our center every year. We had planned on December 6th to have a visioning session of what we want to do in 2023, but we've decided that we really need to celebrate right now, and we'll think January would be a much better time for this visioning, so it's been postponed. Now, if you do want to see some decorations and spend some time with our center spiritual family, Donna Axon is hosting the annual holiday party. So it's a potluck, so bring your favorite dish to share. And it's also a white elephant exchange. So if you'd like to participate, bring a gift and have something to share under the tree. And also on December 21st, Wednesday night, is the monthly women's circle that's the red tent circle that is meeting. So that'll be their time with a Christmas theme, I think, this year. And on Friday night, December 23rd, will be our center's candlelight service at 5 p.m. So, so this is a wonderful time when we have lots of singing, and we'll be looking at the metaphysical interpretation of Christmas. There's no service on Christmas Day or on New Year's Day, since people like to celebrate with their families. But we will be having a World Healing Meditation Service December 31st at 4 a.m. So the practitioners will be participating and putting this event together. So, so that you can come and join us at the sanctuary, and we'll have a potluck breakfast afterwards. It'll be fun. Or you can stay at home in your jammies and participate that way. But everyone, there's millions of people around the world at noon Greenwich time that will be participating in this World Healing Meditation. And they've been able to show that there is a shift in the world when we all pray together. We also have our ongoing classes and Tai Chi, meditation, and of note, Course of Love is on break until January. So you won't find Sue Pipel this week. She'll be on vacation in various places. All right, next we have our children's affirmation. You would join with me. We see you, we hear you, we love you. You are a gift from God, and so it is. So if you would all join me, nicely muted, in our closing song, Love Be With You by Gary Lynn Floyd, and then we'll have our affirmation before our hospitality.
I'm having trouble finding the link. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay. It looks like it disappeared.
Okay, well, we'll fix that for next week. So, love be with you, and let's go to our affirmation. All right, if you would read with me. I am at home wherever I go. And so it is. So please unmute yourself and share your screen and we can catch up. How everyone's doing with this snow. It's been nice to just sit back and I remember when we were kids and we got to have a snow day and you got to stay home and play in the snow and drink hot chocolate and it was great. Maybe a
So
little.
we all get to do that today, right? We're gonna all go out and play in the snow.
Yeah, Michael's ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as he has skis on his feet
Yeah.
yeah,
or snowshoes.
yeah, I don't know.
And I
It's-
don't know, in a blizzard, it's the best. That's not the best skiing, is it, Michael?
No.
And they
It's a
may
bit
not even be
stuff.
open, so
That's true.
Yeah, or limited.
yeah, I know, but it's great. It's great to see it. It's beautiful.
Is it snowing
so-
where you're, Colleen?
Come here, buddy.
No, it's gorgeous actually at the moment. It's very windy and it's starting to blow in to where it's snowing near us. So we might be getting something in the next hour or so.
Yeah.
It's sunny, cloudy, little droplets in the air.
Moisture.
And that's the weather for today.
That's the way.